Hello everyone, in this lesson you will learn how to write a letter of complaint. This lesson is planned for 11th grade students. Now dear students, let's open your English file, student books, page 119, writing page. Okay, in the previous reading lesson, we tell the meaning of verb complain. And complain means to show your dissatisfaction, to tell your annoyance or dissatisfaction. Now complaint is the noun form of complain, and it's a statement which means that something is unsatisfactory or unacceptable. And when you have a problem with something, when you have a problem with a product you have bought, you can write a letter of complaint. Now in this writing lesson we'll look at, to understand the style, we'll look at an example of a letter of complaint. And a letter of complaint is a kind of formal letter actually. Now, let's start with the example letter of complaint. And you will pause the video and read the letter. And we have 5 questions here. You will answer these questions. Let's pause the video, read the letter and answer these questions. Okay, now let's start answering the questions one by one. First question is, who is Chris Mason complaining to? Who is Chris Mason complaining to? As you see here, the letter was written by Chris Mason. And Chris Mason wrote this letter to whom? You see it here. Chris wrote this letter to Miss Adams, Sandra Adams. You see the address here too. How can we understand it? We understand the appealing part here, the starting part, dear Miss Adams. And second question, what item is he complaining about and why? Yes, as you see here, he is complaining about a coffee machine. He ordered it 2 weeks ago and it still hasn't arrived yet, but the payment has been taken from his credit card. And question 3, who did Chris Mason contact first? Who did he contact first? Now, yes, so he called customer service line. He called customer service line. You see it here, firstly. And what problem did he have when he phoned to complain? What problem did Chris Mason have when he phoned to complain? You will see it here too. He says, I spoke to Becky and Becky was rude. Yes. So the problem was this. And Becky said that the item wasn't in stock. And question 5. In which paragraph does Chris use flattery and how? In which paragraph does Chris use flattery and how? If you remember the reading lesson, the previous reading lesson, you will remember the meaning of flattery too. Flattery means compliment. Okay, you express an insincere praise. Now, yes, in which paragraph does Chris use flattery in this letter? Of course, in the last paragraph, you will see. Because Chris says, I have bought many things from you over the years, both from your London shop and the online store. Okay, so Chris uses flattery in the last paragraph. Okay, now to understand it in detail, to understand the style and the layout, letter of complaint in detail, you will read the letter again. And this time, as you see, there are some gaps here. You will read it and you will complete the gaps with these words. Let's pause the video and complete the blanks. Okay, Now let's check your answers. Yes. Dear Miss Adams, order reference number. The item was in stock. Items in stock are delivered in 48 hours. However, Becky was rude and unhelpful. I have always had good service. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours sincerely. Yes. Now, after checking your answers, now let's look at the layout and style of letter of complaint in detail. You see some useful language part on your book. And let's look at another language use about letter of complaint. Now, letter of complaints are formal letters. So we should start the letter, or it can be an email too, with these phrases: dear sir or madam. If you know the name of that person, you will use dear miss, dear mrs, dear mr. And if you don't know the name of that person, you will write to whom it may concern. To whom it may concern. That means ilgili kişiye. And how will you end your letter or email? You should use one of these phrases. Yours sincerely, yours faithfully, regards. I look forward to your response. And also in the paragraphs, you will tell your complaints in detail and in a polite way. And also you will support your information provided. Supporting here means, for example, you will tell reference numbers, you can add receipts, you will tell about your credit card statements, maybe guarantee or proof of purchase. And what do you want to happen? You will write, I expect you to blah blah. I would be happy if blah blah, or I would like you to blah blah. Yes, the style of letter of complaint is like this. Now, let's look at the box on your books. Here there is an important thing. Don't use contractions. Contraction means in writing kısaltma. Okay, so don't use contractions because this is a formal letter. And you will write, I look forward to hearing from you. That means I'm waiting for an answer from you. And also, that's important, you will write your full name here and you will sign your letter. Okay? Now, I think you learned how to write a letter of complaint. Now, as a homework, you will write a letter or an email of complaint about something you bought online. And you can send your example letter of complaints through mail to us. Thank you for listening and see you on the other lessons.